Welcome to Childcare Rockstar Radio. I am your host, Kris Murray. Childcare leaders around the globe are breaking through challenges, leading the way in innovation, testing new best practices, and impacting children and families in a much more powerful and positive way than ever before. Each week, join me for interviews with early childhood leaders and experts that will leave you inspired to become the next childcare rockstar. Now, let's go. This is Childcare Rockstar Radio, episode 182, featuring Ashley Blackmon. Welcome back, folks. I am very excited for you to be here with me for this episode and to meet Ashley. Ashley is from Huntsville, Alabama, and she is the owner and founder of a Perfect Start Learning Center with going on 2 locations. We'll talk all about her expansion to her second location with a capacity of a 189. She has national accreditation, and her existing center is full with a wait list. She has a beautiful program. It is based on helping her community, both parents and children, feel more empowered and to have a culture of growth, personal development, and helping humans rise up in so many ways in her community. She has community partnerships, and she reveals to us a lot of personal things about her start, which was challenging in terms of how she came into this world, and some things that she's experienced that she shares oh so vulnerably. And I have to give Ashley major kudos for this episode, because she shares some things that are very personal and maybe even shocking. And so I really want you to stay tuned for this episode. Before we get into it, I want to just share that I have been having a year of personal growth and development myself, and working on new ventures in terms of my own personal brand, and trying to shift from being the CEO of Childcare Success and the host of this podcast, all things related to childcare. And I'm branching off into new horizons. More about that to come. I am here shortly going to launch my own personal website, which is krismurray.com. And so that's in the works as we speak. And I'm struggling a little bit with my book. I have a beautiful book that I'm writing, but I just haven't been that tied into the creative process these days. I'm just going to share that with you. So yeah, it's been a journey of really trying to sit down and make myself be disciplined in my creative approach. And sometimes discipline and creativity don't go hand in hand. So for those of you that have tried to write a book or do something big of a creative pursuit, you know that it's not always easy to find the juice. So it is coming along, and it will be released when it's ready. So I'm just tapping into my season of enjoying my life, enjoying my summer, enjoying my relationships, spending time with my daughter while she's home. By the time that you listen to this podcast on its release, she'll already be heading back to Savannah, Georgia, to go be with her tribe of friends and experience new things as a sophomore at Savannah College of Art and Design. And I have never been more proud of both of my children. So it's been a great summer, enjoying it with my kids and with my boo and my dog Ruby, and all of that's being posted on social media. If you're not following me on social, I'll just give you my Instagram is at I am Kris Murray. And I look forward to seeing you over there. I do post frequently with videos and content and photos of what I'm doing in my personal life, and more about professional journeys as well, and free tips and guidance on entrepreneurship and business challenges and how to overcome them, and mindset tips and all sorts of good stuff over there on the Instagram. I am Kris Murray. With that, I'm so proud of this young lady that you're about to meet, Ashley Blackmon. She is an amazing soul. She's really beautiful inside and out. And she has built a thriving business that's making a huge difference for the families and children in Alabama. And can't wait for you to meet her and hear all about her tips and what she's doing for her community, and talking about her leadership and how she improved her culture, and some real talk around team engagement and staff retention and marketing and overcoming health issues. So I'm glad you're here for it. And I can't wait to have you meet Ashley. So let's go and enjoy this episode. Welcome back to the show, folks. I am very excited to introduce my guest today to you, Miss Ashley Blackmon. Ashley, how are you today?
I'm doing well, Kris. I'm so glad to be here. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Where are you right now, Ashley?
I'm home. I'm
Oh.
home in my living room where I'm comfortable, where all the magic happens, you know?
Nice. And where geographically is that located?
Okay. Well, I'm North Alabama. I'm Huntsville, Alabama.
All right. Very
Uh-huh.
cool. How long
Mhm.
have you lived in Alabama? Are you a
All my
lifelong?
life. This is
Wow.
home for me.
Nice.
Hmm.
Nice. All right. Good. Tell us a little bit about your business. How long have you
So,
had it? And just give us the a little bit more of the logistics and the stats of your business.
yeah. So I am owner operator with CEO founder of a Perfect Start Learning Center. I should say I'm the proud owner of a
Owner.
Perfect Start Learning Center.
Yeah.
We are a nationally accredited program in Huntsville, and I guess I should put some respect on our name, Kris, because actually we're the only four-star
Nice.
quality rated childcare facility in our city, and we're the only NECFA accredited childcare facility in Alabama. So I gotta,
Wow.
give myself some kudos. But
Yeah.
we are licensed for about 132. We have about 130. I think that's just where we're comfortable. We don't have to worry about the other two. We
Yep.
have a wait list. We have a wait
All
list, and
right.
then I do have a second location that's coming up. That's being renovated, and we'll be able to serve about 189 in the community at that location. So we're growing, uh,
Nice.
and I'm really excited about it. I have probably, I have. Let me see. I think it's more, maybe about 75% private pay, maybe about 25%
Subsidy.
um, subsidy.
All right. All right.
Um,
Cool. And
yeah,
how many employees do you have?
employees. Let's see, I have 22 employees right now.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, we're going to dive into all the things. I want to hear about your new center. I want to hear about what you're doing in your marketing and your leadership and
Okay.
hiring and all the things. I want to congratulate you on being the only NECPA center in
Mhm.
Alabama and being nationally accredited. I mean,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
And I love that you just have that as part of your brand when you talk
Oh,
about your school. Yeah, that's super
I think
cool.
it's a good unique benefit, right?
Uh-huh.
I think that just overall, I have a urge to really be my best self. So I try to hire others that don't mind putting their best foot forward to always achieve all the crazy things that I come up with in my head. And so we just do it and make it happen, but it does feel good. So thank
Yeah.
you for
You're
that.
welcome. I can feel your positive energy. I feel like you're glowing right now, so I'm sure that energy goes all the way through your school since you are
Well,
the CEO and
I hope
founder.
that it does. I
Yeah.
do. So let's see. You said all the
Yeah, I
marketing.
think you handled all of that. Let me ask you a little bit more about your home life. What are you up to at home? Do you have kids? Are you married? What do you enjoy in terms of hobbies? Anything you want to share about your home life?
Yeah, sure. So I'm 7 years, July 23rd. So in a couple of weeks, actually,
Okay.
married to my king, and
Congrats.
I'm so so in love with him, and thank God for that.
Nice.
Um, I have two children right now. I say right now because I have
Uh-oh.
a 13-year-old biological son. I have a
Okay.
7-year-old biological daughter, but I'm a therapeutic foster parent as well. So at
Okay.
times, I foster children in my
Oh,
community, and it's
cool.
another passion that I have. And so, right now, with all the goings ons, most of my children go back to their families, and that's something I'm very proud of. Uh, but I've chosen not to get another right now because I just want to be able to give him all, the fostering aspect, and right now I'm kind of pulled and tugged with the renovation of the other building, and building my team for that, and so
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, so you have your hands full.
yeah,
I
I
mean,
am.
you're birthing another center, so
Oh,
that's like a child.
yes. So
Cool.
should I scratch that and say I have 3?
There you go. Actually, you're gonna about to have 4, two
Yeah.
centers and 2 children.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
that's
So
great. Cool.
so
Cool, very
that's
cool.
what I'm doing right now. So
All
I'm
right.
married, my
Yeah.
kids. Man, what do I do? I'm crazy enough to put myself back through school, Chris. So I'm in school
Okay.
student right now.
Wow. So
And
what are you getting in terms of your degree? Where are you headed with that?
well, a year ago, I achieved my associates in early childhood ECE, early childhood
Okay.
education.
All right.
And I kind of did it on a whim just to like inspire my staff. I'm encouraging them to get their CDAs and to get their
Right.
degrees and stuff. And I thought, man, I ain't really leading by example. I should have that on my wall. You know what I mean? And
Right.
so, they make way for me to be able to be an overseer over the business and stuff like that. I really don't have an excuse why I shouldn't. All the things that I'm telling them, it's free. We'll use a teach scholarship and we can do all those things. Well, you know what? I did it. If I can do it, so can you. I
Yeah.
don't try to push them to do anything I won't do. So I did.
Uh-huh. I love that.
And then I put myself back to get my bachelor's.
Bachelor's. All right.
Yeah,
All
I think
right.
it was more of a personal goal.
Yeah, that's cool. I love
Yeah.
that.
Mhm.
So maybe you go for your master's. Who knows what will happen?
Maybe. I'm crazy enough to believe that I can, Chris. I just I found that I achieved one goal and then immediately. I don't even know if I really stopped to celebrate. I'm just like, okay, what's check? What's the next thing? So I'm crazy, but
That's great.
yeah,
That's very inspiring. I know a lot of people listening to this show will get really inspired from that, Ashley. I love that so much.
yeah.
Let's talk about, you mentioned about your accreditation being one of your unique benefits, which is super strong. I love that one so much. What else have you folded into your brand as a unique benefit or feature that and how you market yourself to parents?
Well, I think one of the biggest things is empowerment and growth, right? I think empowerment and growth, I say that because you can see how motivated I am to be my best self. I told you I typically hire others who are on the same road
Yeah.
and are excited about achieving what I we do in the community and stuff like that. So I came up with a what would I say? We call it like a parent prep, a parent academy where we uh, not only empower the children um, with our high quality educational care and stuff like that, but we do so. It's kind of like we do the same thing with the parents. We build them up. We have credit classes. We um, handle financial stability classes. We
Hmm.
teach them
Cool.
parenting.
Yep.
We're
Yep.
always easily accessible. We're always there, and we're building and supporting them.
Hmm. That's very cool.
Yeah.
I'm sure that your parents really respond favorably to that. You know what else I love about that is that it creates this really beautiful culture in your school, because if you're empowering and supporting your parents, they're going to be, that culture of appreciation,
Hmm.
and you know having them, that you're basically helping fill their cup, so they're going to be more likely to stay with you and to sing
Yeah.
your praises and to appreciate you. And so it builds a really beautiful foundation for relationships
It
for your
does
parent,
because then it's a us thing. It's like we're raising this kid together, and they
Hmm.
feel valued. Even when they need extra support, they're not afraid to come to us and talk and take our lead. On advice that we give, and so they don't feel nervous about not knowing, you know what I mean. They just, it's like, you're my big sister, or you're my auntie. I know you're going to lead
Right.
me in the right path, and so it really works.
Cool.
We rarely have children leave, hence why we're full and then have the wait list. Once
Right.
you're locked in, it's really, I don't want to sound cliche, but it truly is just a family
Yeah.
environment. And so if we mess up, then we just talk about it. You know what I mean? we work our way through it, and
Right.
you come on back. I get into it with my sister. We just talk it out, and we go keep on moving.
Right. I love that.
So
And that transparency is awesome as well. I love that so much. And because it also builds trust.
yeah,
So yeah.
absolutely.
So that's great. Anything else that you have in your unique benefits or features that of how you
Um,
market?
I say quality and excellence, the NEPCA stuff,
Yeah.
inclusivity and our partnerships. Not only do we partner with the parents and stuff like that, but then we have a lot of community partners. They help come in and teach and train and support and reach out to our community. And
Mm-hmm.
so we're seen a lot. We're trusted. We're understood. You know what I mean?
Right. Yes.
And overall, all of us together, I'd say we have probably about 40 years of childcare.
Nice.
I have teachers who celebrate 10-year, 8-year, 7-year
Hmm.
anniversaries. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so parents are, go over to A Perfect Start. Miss Keisha's that she taught my baby, and it doesn't stop. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
So they actually show up at the school, and that same teacher, yep, she's still here.
Right.
Teaching and loving and supporting all those
Cool.
kids. So
Yeah.
it
Well,
works for us.
when we were in Costa Rica together at the Empire meeting, we talked about retention of your families and your staff being based on relationships and results. And
Hmm.
you are a beautiful model of that you have, poured into the relationships and also with the empowerment and growth, and then also with the results of helping people be stronger, be more successful, be more confident, be better parents. And then of course the relationships and the results for your teachers and for the kids. So
Hmm.
I love that you're a living, breathing example of
Thank
that.
you.
It's super cool. Let's talk about your school culture. And so you're building it through empowerment and growth of your teachers and staff, I am sure as well. Did you have to overcome a time when you were just starting and you didn't really know about leadership and culture, and how have you grown as a leader to improve your culture over time?
Yes, honey, listen, let me tell you.
Tell us the real truth. Get really raw. Let's go.
Girl, this has been a stair step. It has not always been this way. I do not want to come off polished because that is not the case, and I'm always a work in progress. But I think when I worked in the corporate world, I because I told you I had that natural want to be good, I was able to like conquer the intermediate steps of management. And so, I've always kind of been a leader, but to become a leader of my own business and have all the pressures on my shoulders,
Hmm.
I come off, I know I have in the past as I'm a strong woman. I've been through a lot in my past, but I don't think I was really mindful of how other people saw me.
Hmm.
I think I allowed my passion to come through maybe as a little demanding. And so I wasn't putting my best servant leadership uh
Forward.
actually
Right.
best foot forward.
Hmm.
Yeah, because it was just kind of like, I mean, we got to get this done. Everything was on my shoulders. It's my life. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I don't have the 500 Fortune 500 company over my head, and I'm just doing what they tell me to do, and then I clock in, and I clock out, and I go home.
Right.
And so, yeah, man, ooh, it is. Let me say this: I was a owner. I was just an owner. I was a child care provider. I was someone who I think jumped in this industry initially by force. I'll give you some
Hmm.
history. I I was working at DirecTV. I was I'm growing up in Huntsville back then. Huntsville has been one of the coolest places to move to and live right now, but it ain't always been the case. So when I was coming up, I was worked at DirecTV about 8.5 years. I'm climbing my way up. I'm very competitive. I'm pushing and stuff. And one time I had some girls go to HR and say I had threatened their job. Well, I thought, I mean, I've been here 8.5 years. Of course, you know who I am. You know, yeah, I'm competitive. I probably said, if we don't meet this goal, we're going to get rolled up or something. But, I ain't threatening nobody's job. Well, sure enough, they called me and said, we're firing you.
Right.
Devastated.
Uh-huh.
Devastated, Kris. I didn't know what to do with myself. I mean, my adult years, I'd been working at this place. I probably thought I'd retire from it. You know what I mean? It was a place that was paying us decent at the time in the area without a college degree or anything. And so it was like, I mean, what do you mean? I have to work here, right?
Right.
Well, I have an aunt who I've always been seen, like felt. I've always been seen through her eyes. She leads, I follow. You know, she told me she wanted to open up a childcare facility. I said, "Well, I mean, I'm kind of a leader. I may be able to help you. I could." She was working in the government, and I said, "I can maybe be a director, you know." But
Right.
now understand anything I put my mind to, I'm gonna like dive into it. So I mean, I took those minimum standards and stuff, and but I was just showing up. I was just, okay. I learned what soft skills. I know customer service. I know how to smile. I know how to look nice. I know how to, hey,
Right.
yeah, come on in.
Yeah.
And so I was just doing all the things to get by. It wasn't necessarily my choice to
Yeah.
fall into childcare, but I did it and learned it for her. And so then when I got, she has three flourishing centers now, but then when I changed my shift to work at night at the corporate office building, and then I was working in the day for her. So when I got fired, man, I prayed over my pension. I pawned my car. She came to me one day and said, "It's a little daycare on the other street. Like, I mean, that's what you've been doing." My
Right.
friend Nora, she wants to sell her daycare. I was like, a couple of times, like, yeah, I kind of brushed her off. And then while I was applying to like all the other call centers around, right? Because I mean, that's what I know. Nobody would hire me. Nobody.
Wow.
I wouldn't even get an interview. I mean, it wasn't for me, long story
Right.
short.
Right.
And so I went in there, I paid on my pension, I pawned that car, and I shampooed carpet at night, and wiped down McDonald's Happy Meal toys in the morning. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Like that's what was in there. It was terrible.
Right.
But I had to go in there and put in the work and make it my own. I paid
Yeah.
my family with pizza, and we painted the walls and stuff like that, just to get through.
Yes.
And so I just was making my own way, I guess is what I'm saying. And
Yeah.
so
Like you bootstrapped it. You came up from nothing. You pawned your car. You dove in. You shampooed the carpets because the place was not clean. Coach Jay tells a similar story about the first center that she leased. It was disgusting inside, and she had to completely remodel it from top to bottom because it was just gross. And so what I love that you're telling is also like it's your bootstrapping, it's your passion, it's your enthusiasm that you just dove in. Like you might not even have had a plan. You were just like, well, this is right in front of me. So I might as well just dive in and try to make it work, make it a success.
basically,
Nothing, you know?
yeah.
And what I also love, Ashley, is so many people in the academy and so many people in our industry that I work with that I go visit their centers and they tell me like this place when I bought it was a complete dump and the children were being completely mistreated. It was low quality. There was no quality. And you've taken that and now you provide your community with these high quality experiences for children. Like it's amazing to me. I love the story of taking a rundown crappy ass daycare. I'm just going to say it
Yeah.
and turn it into something beautiful that serves families at the highest level. And that's what you've done.
That's what it was, Chris.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what it was. Here's the thing. I think it's a good representation of just my life in general, right? Um Born, ate as a baby, born in the middle of the pandemic. And what I mean by that is the crack pandemic. My mother was on drugs.
Oh man.
I'm living in the projects.
Right.
Walking to like the community center to get like sack lunches and stuff to get food.
Yeah.
In doing that, I found a connection from a Huntsville city inner city church that was probably doing community outreach for the children in the area. But there they used to come and feed us, but then sing Bible songs to us and kind of be like big sisters, big brothers, stuff like that. It was just like it was for a minute, we were free. You know what I mean? We weren't in the project. We were like, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? We were loved on and we were everything to you know how a church takes children on. And
Yes.
so I happened to be one of the children that one of the families really took to, right? I mean, spending the night over the house, you know, playing with their daughters, things like that. And so I remember one day her asking me, her name is Patty, Patty Smith, white family,
Yeah.
asked me, you want to go to school with Ann? Her daughter. Didn't really know what it meant then. I was like, yeah,
Right.
you know.
Sure.
She told me, okay. Next school year, I was in a private Christian academy, Madison Academy here in Huntsville, which is top
Wow.
prestigious program
Wow.
for um, you know, a good
Yeah.
private foundation.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so I think there, I mean, I'm talking, have you seen New Jack City, Kris?
Uh-huh.
Okay, but
Yep.
think about that time in the world. My mom was like that
Right.
addict.
Got it.
And so when I went there, I was introduced to Jesus. You know, nobody was taking me to church.
Right.
I didn't have a foundation. I was just a kid, just existing, running around. And
Right.
so I really, you know, we got there. We was having chapel. We had Bible class, memorizing Bible verses. That's when I really
Mhm.
learned like who I was. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
And I think that's where my growth mindset was kind of cultivated because all of my other friends had to go through the little feeder schools that were in the community and go to the, you know, the regular old high school. And I was, you know, these kids were being picked up in Benzes and, you know, what I mean? Like, I just could, you know, when I went to birthday parties and stuff like that, I mean, I'm pulling up the mansions, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like,
Right.
oh, there's more to life. Like, oh,
Yeah.
it's like things out here that we need to be getting. Like, we need to aspire more than just going to the center to get us lunch. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
And so I had access. I mean, that's just where my eyes were open. That's when I found out
Yeah.
like I'm a child of God. And you know, I understood where those smiles from and the energy that they transferred that I was so excited to go see and meet them all the time. And so
Right.
absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, if I have the chance to impact little lives, I'm gonna show up and do that same thing for those babies in my
Yes.
in my world. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's where that energy and excitement comes from for me. I
Hmm.
want to be able to show them. Of course, I'm gonna be providing high quality education. I
Right.
need you to know what this education can get you. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I don't want to be basic in every sense of the word. I've lived in basic. I know what that gets me.
Right.
And so if I have a responsibility for even staff that are dedicated to me for whatever period, I gotta pour into them. They gotta leave me better. They have to.
Yes. I
Have
love
to.
that.
It's
That's
my duty.
amazing. That's an amazing story. I love that so much. Like from where you came from to where you are now, and now you're giving back and empowering these kids and these parents to see outside of their four walls of what's possible. You like open them up to
Yeah.
all the good things in life, whether it's spiritually or financially, getting them to think, outside of their box and then
Mhm.
what's possible for them. Exposing them
It's exposing.
to these, and that's what this family did for you,
Yeah.
which I
Yeah.
love.
Yeah.
I love
And
that
so
so much.
I try to make sure that I give back in that way. I kind
Yeah.
of want to be that bridge. You know what I mean? I want to
Right.
be for the women and children that have access to me, that look like me. I want them to be able to look at me and see all the things that's possible. And I want them
Yeah.
to get it through love. You know what I mean? I want them to be taken care of and
Right.
loved and supported, you know.
Yeah. Love that. And then how many children have you fostered up to now?
Oh,
Because you're
ooh,
also giving
yeah.
back in that way as well.
Oh gosh. Oh man, how many? I probably fostered about 14 children.
Oh my goodness.
Mhm.
Wow. That's making a huge
A couple of
impact.
times I had twins. 2 different times I had twins. Yeah.
That's fun.
But they're my heart. I think,
Yeah.
I just I say that you heard me saying in the past earlier that it wasn't my passion, but I think all along God knows. I was always the friend that my friends had children earlier in life, and I didn't have children, and
Mhm.
but all of their children wanted to come to my house, and I was just like, well, I mean, it's a house with a
Okay.
TV, but sure, you know what I mean? But
Right.
children see love. Children
Yeah.
are attracted to, and I never understood
Right.
it then, but now I
Uh-huh.
do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like children, they are my passion. They are a part of me.
Yeah. That's
I love it,
amazing.
and so
Mhm.
I decided to be a foster parent, and I've loved it. Yeah, my favorite part about being a foster mom, I think, was working with the families, working with the parents. It was an honor to me that most of my children have gone back to their families, and I think that's in part because I've worked so well with them. I've often heard that they felt judged by the foster parents,
Mhm.
and I just wanted to be support. I always made whatever avenues we could to make sure that they connect and understood that their children were being loved while they were with me, so that they could focus on doing whatever it is that they have to do in order to get their children back. And so
Right.
I don't know. I guess everything about me is relationship, relationship, relationship.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I think the world revolves around it, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
That's awesome. So let's dive into your next center. So you have your newer, the one you're in the process of launching is
mhm.
189 capacity. When do you think the doors will open for that center?
I think I'm at least 9 to 12 months out.
Okay.
We've just started the process
All
on
right.
renovating and getting the contractors in line to to bid,
Okay.
and so we've purchased it, and
So you
it's
purchased a school that was existing as a childcare center, or was it a
it,
different kind of
it it
business?
had been, but it had set for about 7 years.
Whoa. So, oh my God, 70 years
No,
just sitting there. Oh,
seven,
7 years. I was going to
seven
say, not
years.
okay, 7 years,
It
but
sat
still.
empty and closed for about 7 years.
Okay, got it.
So here Ashley comes. Oh, it's enough space. Has a big playground.
All right.
Looks good. I
Well,
buy it.
you probably got a good deal on it,
I
hopefully.
got I got a good deal on it, or so
Yeah.
I thought, until I
Yeah.
realized that like all the pipes and stuff were galvanized,
Okay. So now we got to do some more work that you
and
didn't
we
think.
had asbestos, and so I mean,
Okay.
like it's a really a bigger reconstruction project than I typically
Okay.
expected. I thought at
Okay.
first that most things would be surface, but hey, I it is what it is. It's
Right.
more opportunity and time for me to own my skills and spend time with my staff
All
and building
right.
the people that I um will have in there.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. God's
Okay.
time, and I don't complain.
Right. So you're seeing that as a positive, even though there were some things about it that,
You have
maybe,
to.
but yeah,
You have
that's
to.
cool. That's cool. So, in terms of choosing the location, like what about, do you feel, how far is it from your existing center? And talk more about the location. Like, why did you choose that location? How many centers are around you that compete with that? Like, what went into choosing it? Or you just saw it as maybe there's not a lot of opportunity in your town and that was one of the ones up for grab. Like, just talk more about your process of going through to choose that location.
Well, the location is about 10 minutes from my current one.
Okay, that's good.
It is in the more well-to-do side of the city, believe it or
Okay,
not.
more
It's
affluent.
just 10 minutes
Cool.
away.
Yeah.
And there are not many childcare facilities over there that aren't full. And
Okay.
so the need was there. I
Yes.
knew.
Pent up demand, which is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. The demand was there. And it had all the space.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it was good. I'd have in the past, you talked about trying to make sure that we get over a center of capacity, at least over 100.
Yeah.
And so I knew that that was, the possibility there, so I'd be
Yeah.
able to make a decent profit, it has to make sense, right?
Uh-huh.
And so, we were still in our area and we're waitlisted, so
Yeah. That's
oh
right.
yeah, may
Boom.
not mind shifting, you know what I
That's
mean?
right. That's right.
And, so it made sense.
Cool.
Yeah, now
All right.
now now I looked all around, I see that there really was nothing else.
Right.
But I got people knocking my door down and calling, they're like, "I mean, you gotta do something," and I'm like, "We gotta do something." 'Cause I hate to get to the point where I'm turning children away. I'm like, "Baby, I," and they're saying, "But so and so referred me. They said ask for Miss Ashley." I'm like, "Baby, I'm regulated by the state. I'm sorry. I hate that I have to say no, but we're waitlisted, you know?"
Right.
And I'm like, "We gotta do something. We gotta figure something out." So I just went
Right.
on a hunt.
That's great. That's great. So, how many days a week or hours a week do you spend typically in your center?
True story, Kris. I just hired a new admin assistant.
Okay.
Um, so I've been working from home for about a month and a half. Before
Congratulations.
then, I mean, I just have one saying, I'm bored. I need their energy. I'm so used to the relationships we built, right? So maybe probably about 2 times a week I would go in,
Okay.
you know.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen them in a while now, and I'm proud of that. I know I gotta let go in order to create the magic
That's
in the
right.
building and stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
Uh, yeah, yeah.
Cool.
But
So,
they're really good at holding things down. I think
right.
I've built relationships enough to um allow like my lead teachers and stuff to be treated like owners. I know them as individuals. They understand what Miss Ashley wants. They know what the APSLC way is, and so they handle things accordingly. I let them treat their classrooms as little pods, and they're over it. How they do the curriculum. If their assistant will be do lunch, or if they'll be cleaning, that's their whole world. They figure that out.
All right.
So I'm not blinded with the little things. I don't have to
Yes.
calm down the fights and who didn't want to clean and who didn't sweep. And,
Right. You
that's
don't
like
deal with any of that. Yeah.
that's a you thing. I need to use my
Yeah.
creative juices to be working on stuff. I can't deal with the
Yes.
small things. So I empower them to be a
Right.
team. You go talk that out with each other. You come back
That's
to me
right.
with your resolution, and then we move forward that way if we can.
Yes.
Uh, so I've been working in the center long enough. I got everything streamlined, CRM and all that stuff, and so
Right.
I'm
Cool.
just
What
there supporting and building.
I love it. What CRM do you use?
We use childcare automation, believe it or not.
Okay.
Childcare automation, yeah.
All right. Cool. And so you've got your drip campaigns all set up and you're following up with people and
Mm-hmm.
emailing people and
Yeah, yeah.
texting people. But it sounds like you don't really need a ton of that because you're full, but you also don't want
Yeah,
to.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The system does it.
Right.
The system does it. So I ain't really doing a lot of emailing and stuff because, like you said, I don't have a lot. I don't have to, but
Yeah.
I'm just in there rubbing shoulders. Being a helping them understand stuff if they have a question about.
Right.
Hey, I saw this thing I want to do. What do you think about that?
Yeah.
Just
You're leading. You're
yeah,
leading. And
yeah,
you're empowering them to solve their own issues
yeah.
with your guidance
Hmm.
and figure out their own situations and their own and so resolve their own conflicts if they have any.
That's it.
So I love that. So what is a time when you were really overwhelmed or like down and out when you were leading your school, you were trying to build your school and you were really challenged with, and how did you overcome that challenge?
Biggest thing that stands out to me would be no matter how much you pour positivity, growth, and support, you ain't gonna satisfy everybody, right?
Right.
um, I had some staff who had kind of been a apple spoiled the bunch type situation.
Yep.
That had ran through my center. I had to let go of probably about four. And that was hard for me because you hear me say how I built these relationships and we've been together so long, 3, 4, 5 years, some of those teachers, and they were just being sour patches. They just were not positive. It was
Hmm.
gossip had started going through the building.
Yep.
People were being honorary. Oh,
Toxic.
it was just terrible. They're doing what they want to do. It was almost as if everything that I'd done and worked to build was kind of being torn down by these negative Nancy's and these
Yeah.
relationships and stuff. And so uh, I kind of felt like it's it's up to me. It was hard for me to make the decision to decide that I had to let them go. I know what I tell somebody else. Oh, you gotta let them go. At the onset of it, they gotta go. You gotta get rid of those D players, and but it was hard for me to do.
Yep.
I was blinded, and I had to end up letting them go and get. They were harming me from being able to get other staff because when I allowed them inside the facility for them to go in the rooms to be able to train them so I could get them out, they were.
Yeah.
And so the new staff were like, "Is all the stuff they said about you true?" It was just it was crazy. And so they wouldn't stay and they knew what they were doing. What I mean? They
Right.
totally were taking ownership of they were unhappy for whatever reason, but wouldn't leave. Just were comfortable being, mean. And that started to impact me because I thought that we had personal relationships. At that
Hmm.
time, I was starting at the onset of purchasing the second location, and then I was finding out that some of the things, the pipes and the asbestos, and I
Right.
had done all this raving up for marketing, and that we weren't going to be able to meet our opening day. We had parents calling us saying, "Hey, I had my baby. It's time for me to start. What's going on?" We had to push things back. I was just so overwhelmed with, wait, my perfect world is crumbling. Everything that I set in place to happen correctly is just falling apart.
Right.
I ended up my budget ended up tripling, and I was really stressed about it. And I sat here and worried myself to death, Chris. I had a stroke.
Ashley.
I had a stroke. I had a
Uh,
stroke. I did. Um and um of course what I've learned through it, well, let me say this, I had an MCA stroke. I mean, largest artery, it wasn't a small one.
right.
Um and and I happened to be talking to my mom on the phone one day, and we do our time. She's recovered, acting my best friend now, and
Okay, good.
love
That's
her
a
to death.
success.
And
Good.
so
Good.
she's here and in my life, and I'm loving every second of it. I'm love being her friend now as an adult
Right.
and stuff. And so
Right.
we're just talking, and I happened to lay across my bed. I was telling her about how stressed I was, and I heard her scream. She said, "Ashley," and I was like, I'm like, "What?" And she's like, "Where are you? Who's around you? Who's around you? What's with your voice?" And I was like, "What?" I'm like, my mom is so extra. And I was like, "Mom, like, oh my God, call."
Right.
And she's like, "No, where's Steve? Steve is my husband. Where is he?
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna call him. I'm gonna call him." So she called, and I'm like, "Okay, whatever." She calls him. He comes home, and he's shaking me. What's wrong with you?
Wow.
What's our kids' names? Who am I? Like,
Wow.
and I'm talking to him, and in my head, I'm sounding perfectly fine.
Right.
Uh, and he was
Interesting.
like, "Oh my God, it's just like your mom said, your voice is slurred." Well,
Ah,
my doctor said in my head it would have been that way. To me, I was speaking normally.
right.
And so I was just like, "What?" And he was saying, "Get up, come on, let's go." And I was like, "I'm just so tired. I just want to
Ah,
lay down, baby. Please let me lay down." And he was like, "No,
ah,
please." And I was like, "Please trust me. Like, I just need to rest." Now I'd had a headache for about 24 hours. I mean, beaten. And
interesting.
so I said, "You know what? I've been telling you about my headache. Let me get some Tylenol." He said, "Sit down. You're bumping into stuff." I said, "Mm, let me get some Tylenol." Chris, I reached my hand up in the to get a glass to get some water, take my pills, and got it. When I got the Tylenol, put it in my hand. put it on the counter, reached up to get the cup,
Yeah.
and the towel now dropped. I was like,
Uh-huh.
weird. Okay, wait a minute. I know I ain't been tired, So I grabbed it. I I set the towel now. I said, you know what? I'm gonna follow with my hand. So I got the glass. I'm looking at the towel now bottle, and I set it down, and it stayed. I was like, okay. Got the water and stuff. Started taking the pill. Everything was fine. He said, go lay down. I was telling him. He said, I'm gonna get you something to drink. I drank the through the glass, and my throat felt tight, like when I'm allergic to seafood. So when I'm allergic, when I've been
Right.
around something that it's really tight.
Uh-huh.
And so I was like, "Oh man, I'm really tripping." I laid down. He was like, "I'm gonna," and I was just like, "My head is just hurting." He's like, "I'm gonna get you something else." So he went to the cupboard. Now his dad is a radiologist, so in his house, he've always said, "Ever." He said he saw me take the Tylenol, but he thought I needed something else because I was still complaining about the headache. So
Right.
he gave me a little Advil on top just to be an extra dose or something, right?
Right.
Gave me that Advil.
Uh,
I took it, laid down, and went to sleep.
oh no.
Woke up the next morning and was just running through. Like my mom called and she was like, "What happened? Did y'all go to the hospital?" And he was like, "She wouldn't go." And she was like, "Actually, why would you not go?" Those were stroke symptoms. I
Ah,
slept on the side of my bed and I realized, and I was like, yeah, I'm normal. Like, it's crazy. All the things are gone. And it dinged on me when she said, those are stroke symptoms. I was like, I grabbed my phone, I started Googling it. Sure enough, headache,
yeah.
hand-eye coordination when I was
Uh-huh.
reaching up,
Yep.
tightness of the throat.
Uh-huh.
And I remember when I went to lay down, I kind of laid down and it kind of felt like it kind of felt like my arm was dead or something, like
Right.
kind of when you done set on something for too long or something.
Uh-huh.
And I remember I was working at my desk that day and I sneezed and I put my hand up. I was like, whoo. And I remember feeling like I saw my hand up here, but I couldn't feel it. You know what I
Right.
mean? It was all because
Interesting.
the senses and stuff
All
had already,
tingly and
my
yeah,
side had already started. Yeah.
started falling asleep.
So
And then also this slurred speech
oh, yeah,
as
slur of
well.
speech, yeah, and
Yeah.
so the doctor comes in and, he sees me, he's like, "Why in the world when you have come to the hospital?" And so they're just like they did the testing and they come in and they're like, "Oh my god, you had a stroke." And I was like, "What is a mini stroke?" And he was like, "No, no, big, big." And I was like, "Whoa, okay," because in my head,
Wow.
I'm like, "But I'm normal." I'm like, "Yeah, but yesterday, they said I had slur of speech and I did it." And so then they're like, "Tell us everything." I mean, tons of doctors in the room. "Tell us everything that happened, and so I was like, "Oh, well, my husband went and got this Advil," and they were like, "Aha!" There's like 8 minutes or so from when on the onset of when things are happening that you
Right.
have to turn it, and so that Advil
Oh
thinned
my
my
God.
blood just enough for my blood to
Wow.
keep on passing,
Wow.
or else it would have.
Or
I mean, that was
you, wow.
1 minute.
Oh
I
my
mean, I
God.
stressed myself. So
Oh my
pressure
God.
bust pipes, Chris. Like I,
Wow.
I was stressed out enough that I
Right.
almost took myself out of here.
Out. Wow. Well, first of
And
all, I am very, very grateful and glad that you're here with us right now.
yes,
Number
yeah,
one.
me
Number
too.
two, everybody listening, know the signs of a stroke and know the signs of other issues that might be happening. Pay attention. And number three, we got to let our toxic people out of the building as soon as possible so they don't stress us out. My goodness. Right. So
Yeah.
I hope that you were able to then exit those
Oh,
people out of your
oh, honey,
program.
when something like that happens, you get a whole new outlook on life. You're like,
Right.
all of a sudden, you must have the strength to do everything that you thought you weren't going to. Hey, you
Right.
go, you go. I don't care if we have to send children out and start back. You know what I mean? If I can't meet ratios and stuff, it is what it is. Like I got to
Right.
do what's best for myself and my staff because
Yeah.
I just told you I had 22 employees. Those employees have children, all the children that we're impacting in the community and stuff. I
Yep.
can't leave here yet. God ain't done with me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
For
Like,
sure.
and then the other side is don't be worrying because God always got me. What am I
Yes.
worried about?
Yeah. All
Something so
right.
small for when I build,
Yes.
life for myself. Like, girl, God got you. Look, you under-resourced child, look how he done took care of you, look what you had
Right.
access to, private college, private
Right.
degree, and all this. I
Yes.
had no business worrying because I know who I am in God. I had that foundation, and I shouldn't have been doing it anyway. Should have just
Right.
been going with what I know.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that story. I'm really glad you overcame that in all those ways. My final question for you is, being a member of the Childcare Success Academy, how has that journey, you've been with us for several years now, and I'm very grateful for you to be in there at empire level. How has that impacted the person that you are today? Like what's the biggest transformation that you've received as
Yeah,
being a member of the academy?
biggest thing for me, Chris, is just is if it's something that I wish I'd done sooner, is found you. It's found my tribe, found my support system. It's a lot of my friends don't understand all the lobbying, all the advocating, all the building and stuff that we do. It's like when you walk in Walmart in a warp zone. When I come home and I'm talking about childcare and stuff, they don't have a clue what I'm talking
Right.
about, but
No.
y'all do.
Yes.
So I just the support system and the positivity that you're around. When I found the childcare success company, I was a childcare provider. Let's just put it like that. That was my identity. I was a childcare provider. Now I'm a CEO. That's
Yes.
the new mindset that
Mhm,
I have.
mhm,
I
mhm.
think the tools that you've given me to be able to see my program as a business has been critical to my development. I was just getting by. I mean, I was going through the motion. I was opening it at the right time. I was closing at the right time. I was
Mhm.
taking in the money. I ain't know nothing about no. You told me one time, edible,
You betcha.
edible.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
You know,
Uh-huh.
measuring my successes,
Yes.
accounting, so, just knowing that this is bigger than just what I've seen. You put me in rooms with people who were doing this and doing it well, and it opened my eyes up to all the possibilities. You know what I mean?
Right.
Now I'm a CEO. I'm a mom that has time for my children. I'm an excellent leader for my staff. I'm a advocate for other children. I'm a resource provider. I'm a
Yeah.
investor in properties. I'm creating generational wealth for my families and hopefully for their children. I am a bridge to all kinds of different people. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? To
Yeah.
see all the possibilities. And I'm not sure if I ever would have had the power to see myself in those light because I didn't I hadn't seen it. I hadn't had access to
Right.
it. I didn't know it was possible. You know what you can become when you see it. Sitting in those rooms, I remember the first time I came to a conference, a lady stood up to tell a story about, what was going good for her. And she introduced herself and said her name and that she had 12 centers. And I was like, that's possible? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I did. I didn't even, I mean, I couldn't imagine that my brain
Yeah.
could,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I
It's
know that
just
it's possible now. You
sure.
know what I mean? I know that it's possible now. So, but then I would have been okay with the
Right.
small things that God got me. But um, I think if it's anything that I would change, I would find my tribe. I would give me a coach. I would connect with somebody that's not going where I want to go. That's already there,
That's right.
so I could streamline and get to my goals way quicker. And
Right.
why building myself? I think the other thing is um I had to ask, coming up how I did, I hadn't always had the most confidence. That's the truth. And
Yep.
so I don't necessarily, I don't necessarily need attention from the world. I wanted the confidence that God provides. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So I had to go to him and say, God, show me how, me how you see me. Fill me up with that kind of knowledge, love, and for myself, just to know that my natural gifts and abilities are possible. Kris, I went to the Childcare Success Academy and you showed me I could do those things, but I should have known
Yeah.
that my natural gifts and abilities, without all of the education and deposits that you deposited into me, was possible.
Hmm.
That imposter syndrome that I rode around with so long should have never been, because I should have had my head up and knowing from the beginning who I was. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, but there's
And
so many of us don't have the upbringing to know that. We, especially women, we question our own value, we question our own worth, we question our own strength. We don't have the confidence. We do have the imposter syndrome, fake it till you make it.
mhm,
And that's why these mastermind groups are so valuable, because now you're in the room with
I,
people who have done amazing things and you're like, I could do that. Excuse me. So thank you for sharing that, because I was just like you, Ashley. When I started out, I had nothing. I had an IKEA desk. I had a small little, amount of money, $15,000 from my dad passing. And I didn't have a lot of confidence necessarily, but I just dove in and started, and then being in the room with 6 and 7 figure people and then modeling how they got there and saying, I think I can do that. I can model that. I see her doing that. I'm going to model her. I see him doing that. I'm going to model him.
mhm.
And that's exactly what we brought to you. And you did the exact same thing, So, yes, I guess you say I should have had that. But I think a lot of us didn't have it when we were coming up. We didn't have it in our teens and 20s and maybe even in our 30s. But you found it. And I'm
I
happy to be
did,
the
man.
conduit.
Am I glad I did?
Yeah.
And let me say this too. Let me give a little add a little more sauce on to that, Kris.
Yeah.
And I hope I can be this transparent. I knew I needed help long before I reached out. Right? I pulled you up. I said, I ain't gonna be able to pay for this white lady. This stuff gonna be too man,
I know.
I dreamed, I looked, I read on the website. I was just like, Kris, I never even inquired. I immediately just said, I can't do it. It's gonna be
I know.
or a lot of it probably was I thought that I had to show up perfectly. I probably was too ashamed
Yeah.
to put myself on the spot and say, oh my God, honey, you finna have to help me. And so I wanna say thank you so much for creating this path, this foundation, this roadmap for us childcare providers to cultivate I've and learn through. I've seen and listened to many impactful people in our community
Yeah.
come on even just a podcast and drop gems and nuggets. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes.
And it's changed our industry. It's changed our culture.
Yeah.
And let me talk to that. And when I say our culture, I mean our black.
Yeah.
And let me be honest, Kris, I'm saying that because a lot of the times we need help with the business side of it. I
Yep.
knew how to, be nice and kind of show up, but I mean, you don't know what you don't know, man.
That's
You
right.
know what I mean? All of the I remember we had a mastermind that was just about like our exit strategy and stuff. We weren't in there talking about systems no more. You were like, child, y'all gotta come on. Like, what's your plan?
Yeah.
That forced me to really sit down and think, what? And you were in there sharing with me trust and
Yep.
like this is all
Yep.
the things you need to do. And I'm like, man, you're really showing me the way. And what kills me the most is the transparency in which you do so. You literally drew up a map. I mean, you made it
Yeah,
easy,
I put my whole wealth journey in a picture
you
on the
know,
thing because I'm like, here you guys go. Let's build it out.
but
Let's go.
it made it so
Yep.
easy for me, and I think that's why you've been so impactful. The passion that you have, it just shows, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I'm just thankful that you were there.
Yeah. Well, thank you. There are women and men of color who see me and us and they're like, well, I don't want to follow that white lady. And I get it but I don't want there to be a color line. For me, it's been important for me my whole life to impact humans, whether they're Black, brown, Chinese, Asian, whatever they are. But especially Black and brown people who don't have a lot of resources.
Right?
It's been important for me to just show up in a way that feels very open and transparent and loving.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I don't want there to be a color line, but I get why there is. I get
Yeah,
it.
but listen, I don't think that the color line is with you. I think it's probably just within ourselves, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, I
Yes.
don't think that,
I agree.
you know what I mean? I
Yeah.
don't think that it has anything to do with the Childcare Success
Y-
Academy because
Yeah.
knowledge is knowledge, and
Yes.
if you
Knowledge
want
is
it, you
knowledge.
come where you're getting fed. You know what I mean?
That's right.
It
That's right.
that was a me thing. It had nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
And then when I looked on there and seen Tamina and Coach
Yeah.
Jay, who we used to be running around the city going to these different
Yep.
conferences and stuff
Uh-huh.
together, and just to
Uh-huh.
see just the growth that she and the things
Yep.
that she's achieved
Yep.
she the one that said, "Come on over, it's time.
Right. Yeah.
Y'all got to quit playing."
Come
I'm getting my people.
on.
I'm telling you, hey, this lady know her stuff. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so it's
Yeah.
impacted all
It's
of
great.
us. You know,
Yeah.
I'm I think that what I'm most thankful about is that when I'm showing up at conferences, I'm seeing more and more and more people that look like
Yes.
me, and
Yes.
my soul loves it. You know what I mean? I'm
Yes.
just like, yes.
I know. And then I got the Logans as rock stars, so they get to come into Aspen. I took them out to a
Listen,
great. We had the best time. So
yes.
yeah, I love it. I love it. I can't love it more. It's
I just
amazing.
yeah,
Yeah, it's great.
that's
I
it.
love it so much. So, well, we are over time, but thank you so much for being here today on the podcast. Is there anything else that you want to share? I'm sure people want to know what's your web address and if you want to share your Instagram or anything else you want to
Yeah,
for
yeah,
how
yeah.
to follow Ashley. Yeah.
So my Facebook name is Ashley Blackmon, Ashley
Okay.
Leslie hyphen Blackmon. Actually, my center website is aperfectstartlearningcenter.com, just like you
Okay.
hear it all spelled
Okay.
out.
Awesome.
We have a Facebook page as well, the center name, A Perfect Start Learning Center.
Okay.
Mhm.
Cool. All right. Very cool. Ashley, thank you for being here today. Is there anything else you want to share as a final comment or anything before we say goodbye?
Nah, just thanks for sharing your platform with me. I
All right.
appreciate you. I wanted to come and give the same thankful energy to you that I've done in the mindsets, and I appreciate in the masterminds, and I
Yeah.
appreciate you greatly. Thank you for having me.
Well, this has been amazing. Thank you for being so transparent with your health story and with everything that you have built and your growing up story. And you stand for excellence and growth and empowerment and love, most of all.
Yeah.
I feel your loving heart. And
Ah,
I'm sure everybody on this podcast that's listening feels it as well. Thank you all so much for being here again at Childcare Rockstar Radio. Take care and God bless. And we'll see you next time.
bye.
Bye. I hope you liked this episode of Childcare Rockstar Radio. If you did, please leave a review and share it with someone you know to help spread the word to friends in our industry and on social media. Childcare business success is my passion, and I'm honored to be on this journey with you. As a thank you for listening, I've got a new video training that shows you how to add 6 figures or more of new revenue to your program in the next 60 days by improving your hiring and your enrollment systems. To watch my new video, just go to www.fixmyschool.com. That's fixmyschool.com. Thanks. Take care and God bless.